Hi guys, my name is Nicolette Mashile. I am also known as the Financial Bunny. Welcome to the Financial Bunny TV. Today I want to tell you guys something that really just stood out. So each morning when I wake up, I put on my television. It is in my bedroom. I know it's a bad habit, but I either watch a YouTube video around personal finance, what is new, what's out there, how are people teaching other people certain financial concepts, or I would listen to a Christian sermon, right, delivered either by the likes of Patricia Shire. I listen to oh my goodness, Pastor T.D. Jake's daughter. Now her name has just gone out of my head. So I listened to quite a number of people just to hear certain teachings and understandings. And I've been struggling for the last probably 3 years to be able to hear God's voice. And I don't know if because I've moved away from fellowship or because I've moved away from church, but that's a story for another day. So this morning I woke up and I was like, actually, I'm traveling. I'm going to Ghana. So you know what? Maybe I need some, good prayer. And I stumbled across this video by Patricia Shire. She's one of my favorites. I absolutely love her. And she's got a sermon up there that speaks about hearing God's voice. So she starts off the sermon by explaining that, there's a Bible verse that says, "My flock hear my voice." And this is now, of course, God speaking about his children being able to hear and recognize his voice, right? And she goes on and teaches about, the 6 P's of being able to hear God and how you should go through the Bible, learn the characteristics of knowing God. Because if you know God, you will be able to know that the voice that you hear, even in your quiet time, might be God, and the devil won't be able to fool you because you know the voice of God. And it's often it reminds me of a story. So my mom does not know who she's speaking to on the phone, right? Because my sister Bridget, my sister Violet, and my voice all sound the same. Literally, she will answer the phone and say, "Hello, Bridget Nikovai," because she does not know who she's speaking to. But I realized that the moment we say something, basically after the first sentence, she kind of knows who she is talking to. And the reason for that is because she's known us for so many years. She's basically our day one. So she's known us for years. So she'll know the type of things you'll speak to her on the phone about because she knows the different types of individuals. So that was quite an interesting spin on it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is actually very true, right? But the one thing that really stood out for me, which I then connected to personal finance and managing your money, is the frustration that a lot of us go through in trying to fix certain things in our personal finances, and we end up giving up, or we end up just not following through with some of our plans. And the reason for that is because we're trying too many things. So she tells a story about, and it happened to me also when I was flying to the US last year for the US Africa Leaders Summit. So obviously had my outfits packed, everything was ready. So one of the things that I never do is to pack jewelry, right? So this time I was like, okay, I'm gonna pack some jewelry. But of course, I remember this in the last minute. I'm packing my jewelry literally in the last minute. So I pack everything, I throw it into this little Guess. So I had somebody buy me earrings from Guess. So there's a little a pouch that you get from them. So I threw everything in there, chains, earrings, bracelets, everything, right? No problem, it's in my bag. I fly to the US. When I get to the US, the first night, this is not the night, guys, where I'm going to be interviewing important people, Administrator Power. I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Alimelu, and by some chance, I happened to interview Idris Elba. And I was like, oh my goodness, I need to be in my top form. So I put on my imprint dress, I put on my Batu shoes, and I'm ready. I'm like, ooh, one last thing, I need jewelry. So I get this thing out. Now they're waiting for me downstairs because the shuttle is leaving at 3:45. So now it's like 4:30, right? So I get this little Guess pouch out of my bag and I start rummaging through it. I'm trying to pull out this one chain with a cross on it because obviously I want to hold on to my faith and something to take me through. Now, this is a big deal for me. Guys, I start trying to literally get this one chain out and I'm struggling. Okay? I'm trying to get this chain out, and now I'm like getting frustrated. And if you know me, you know I get frustrated very quickly. So I grab the whole pouch, I throw it into the bag, and I run downstairs to go to the lobby so that I can get into the transport that's taking out there. I take it out in the car again, and I'm sitting with this lady who is hosting me, and I'm trying to rummage through this thing again, giving it another go to try and get this one chain out. Eventually, she says to me, Nicolette, hold on to the one chain that you're trying to get out. Work on that only. Stop trying to do all of the chains and separating everything. Because I see you touching a bangle, that frustrates you. You then touch this, then that frustrates you. Touching this, that frustrates you. Work on one thing. Guys, I kid you not. The moment I started working on the one chain that I wanted, literally this thing just untangled by some miraculous thing. And I realized that this is the same thing we do with our finances. We're always trying to fix everything at the same time. We're trying to fix our dates. We're trying to invest. We're trying to get involved in a stock fair. You're trying to budget. You're trying every single thing at the same time. Whereas the trick is to simply concentrate on one thing at a time. Start this year with one thing. Give yourself one financial goal, even if it's not for the whole year, even if it's just for the first 3 months. Budgeting. I want to budget regularly at the beginning of the month, and I'm going to budget at the end of the month and check against. So at the beginning of the month, I'm budgeting. At the end of the month, I'm tracking whether I stuck to the budget. You do this for 3 months, it becomes a habit. Do one thing at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. Personal finances can become difficult if you're trying to overwhelm yourself. Not every single video that I put out is going to be for you. If you need to fix your credit score, concentrate on that. Do that. Understand what is a credit score. How do I build my credit score? How do I fix it? How do I improve it? How do I maintain it? And if your credit score is in a mess, it's not the end of the day. It's not like a name that is permanent. I mean, even people have changed their names. People's names aren't even permanent. The only thing that's really permanent is actually your ID number. You can't change your ID number because if you change your ID number, you become a totally different person. If you've got assets, then you lose all of those assets because they're all attached to an ID number, right? So very important to remember that you can change the situation with your credit score today if you really wanted to. But it takes you concentrating on one thing at a time. If you want to start and get into the investment world, take your time to understand what investing is. Which assets do you want to invest in? Do you want to invest in stock? Do you want to invest in real estate? There are various ways. You will actually discover that even just in real estate, there are various ways to get into investing in real estate. Real estate investment trusts, listed property individual shares, actual brick and mortar, building. There's so much, but you've got to give each one a chance. Work on one thing. And I promise you, the reality about personal finance is, yes, we say work on one thing at a time, but a lot of those things work hand in hand. If you start wanting to invest, you need to find money in your budget to be able to do it. That means you need to budget. That means that you're going to figure out where is your disposable income. You may find that, okay, I need to cut on a few things. If your thing is reducing debt, you work on reducing debt one step at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. This is the year for you to be able to get to the end of the year and say, I'm proud of Nicolette. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of Tandy. Proud of Larato. I'm proud of Jabu. I'm proud of myself because I was able to do this one thing. It relieves so much pressure. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I am off to another trip and I'll see you guys when I come back. Mwah!